An average of 450 Canadians are diagnosed with lung cancer every week. It has a low 5-year survival rate, but it's a cancer that receives less donation money when compared to other types. And that's part of the reason why Jean St-Amand of Halifax organizes the Bedford 5K every year to raise money for the fight against lung cancer. The 5th annual edition of the run is happening on Canada Day, July 1st, and John joins us this morning to talk about it. Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me again.
Now let's back up, I guess, 5 years or so as to why you started the Bedford 5K in the first place.
Well, my dad was diagnosed with lung cancer, and I can't say that it took us by surprise because he had been a smoker for a really long time. But one of the things that I found is that, he was going through a lot. It was tough on the family because it was massively disruptive, and I didn't really have any way that I could really help him in any substantial way. So I had always been toying with the idea of starting a run for a charity, and so the two things just kind of naturally merged. And as it turns out, I kind of discovered with the little bit of research that I was doing and figuring out exactly what I was going to do that lung cancer as a cause among the cancer charities that are out there, there just isn't much going on for it. There's not much funding, there's not much attention given to it. Oddly, it's one of those taboo type cancers where everybody just assumes that it is caused by smoking and therefore it has a little bit of a stigma associated with it. And I'm hoping that this run and people coming out and participating will reverse that trend.
Just when I was referring in the introduction, talking about how it receives less donation money than other types, there was a study actually done last year by the Charity Intelligence Canada, which kind of measures these things, and did find that it's one of the ones that just doesn't get as much money as some other ones.
There's not much attention given to it. I think part of it is that there's not much organization around lung cancer as a cause. There's the Breast Cancer Foundation. There's foundations for various types of cancer, and I've yet to hear about one specifically created for lung cancer.
Now, since you've been running the Bedford 5K, this is the 5th annual edition, what kinds of things do people tell you, participants or people who've been touched by it?
Well, for a lot of people, they come out because you throw a stone in any direction, you find somebody that's been touched by it. So for everybody that's participated, they've had a family member, co-worker, some distant relative perhaps. I mean, just about everybody has, rarely is it more than 2 degrees of separation for someone that's been touched by lung cancer. So, I mean, it really is a very prevalent cancer in our society, and it's something that I think a lot of people, it may have struck them as surprising until they really thought about it and realized just how many people they knew were affected.
It's one of those ones that maybe you don't hear about a lot in the news as far as research and whatnot, so that could be it as well. So tell us about the Bedford 5K and how it works. Well,
we're not doing it as a fundraising drive necessarily. It's more of an awareness thing than anything, and it's about getting the community out to just come together and do something together in recognition of the people that are fighting cancer. And when I say people that are fighting lung cancer, it's not just the patients. The families go through a tremendous amount of stress. It tends to be a very long, drawn-out disease, or certainly in my father's case it was, more than 3 years from diagnosis to when we lost him. And so when they come out to the Bedford 5K, they basically just drop a certain amount of money depending on what age you are, and you participate. And it's a walk, it's a run, depending on what your athletic type is and what you would choose to do. We have a kids run that kind of does a loop of DeWolf Park, and anybody that runs in Bedford is very familiar with our route. It's one of the more popular ones because it's flat and kind of harmless, so it's good.
Sometimes that's a good thing.
It's a nice route to be on because we're all out along the Bedford waterfront and out onto the wharf, and so if we get good weather in particular, it's just a beautiful run to participate in.
So how can people get involved?
Bedford5k.com is the easiest way. All of the registration goes directly through the Canadian Cancer Society's website because they have a nice registration system that they gracefully let us have access to, and they can find us on Facebook. We've got Facebook.com/Bedford5K is us. You can find us very quickly, find out all sorts of information about the event, keep tabs on what we're doing. Of course, this year we're on Canada Day, so we're going to try to make a little bit more of a thing about that. And of course, it's our 5th year too, so we're hoping that it'll be a big event and a big celebration. So the one thing that I really want is to sleep better at night, more pre-registrations.
Yes. So help him out with that sleep thing,
because everybody with a 5K, lots of people can walk a 5K. And so people tend to wait and see what the
Right.
weather's going to be like and decide.
But make John feel better.
But,
Register now.
the more people we have pre-registered, then the more prepared we are the morning of. We don't have to necessarily accept as many registration. I mean, we have registration on site, so it's not like you can't show up and just do it and show your support that way. But if you're able to pre-register, then it's all the better. We're more organized. We have a limited number of volunteers, so I don't want to drive them
It'll help
completely
you out
crazy.
a lot, exactly. And hey, maybe you can get your name on this beautiful trophy.
Hopefully,
So, there you go.
yeah. We've had a couple of repeats on there too.
Yeah, so there you go. Yeah, it's a fantastic event for a great cause. Thank you so much, John, for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
I appreciate it.